Hi everyone, my name is Michaela and today we will be going over what is FFA. Welcome to our first workshop and I'm so excited to experience this journey with you all, and this is part one of our What is FFA workshop. Later on, Caroline will be conducting our part two of What is FFA workshop. Okay, so welcome to our What is FFA workshop. Okay, so let's set your notebooks aside for now and let's dive deeper into what exactly FFA is and the components that come along with it. The National FFA Organization is an organization for youth students to succeed in premier leadership, personal growth, and career success throughout agriculture. FFA has chapters throughout the entire United States plus the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. FFA is the largest student-run organization in the United States. The FFA mission is to make a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agriculture education. So here's another video that I would like you guys to all watch. FFA is a diverse organization, accepting to all sorts of members. Our organization has members through 7th grade to 12th, and we have secondary agriculture programs throughout those grades. So below is another link that you can watch to watch a video on our diverse organization sponsored by FFA.org. Okay, so the FFA motto: learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve. This motto is what FFA members strive to achieve when members of the FFA organization. The FFA Creed was written by E.M. Tiffany and was adopted at the 3rd National FFA Convention. I encourage you all to take a look in your manuals and read the Creed on page 23. In the corner, you will see the FFA emblem. So let's take a moment to look into what the FFA emblem really means. So at the top, you'll see the rising sun. The rising sun shows progress and holds promise that tomorrow will bring a new day. The plow signifies labor, tillage of the soil, and the backbone of agriculture. The owl is recognized for its wisdom and knowledge. This slide, you see the cross section of the corn and is a symbol of unity as corn is grown in every state of the nation. The World Agriculture FFA and education symbol is a combination of learning and leadership. And finally, the eagle represents our freedom and ability to explore new horizons. The official FFA colors. So our two official colors are national blue and corn gold. You'll see these colors everywhere, for they represent FFA, and we love to show our colors. Now, degrees, you can find degrees and the list of requirements needed to obtain a degree in your FFA manual, but the general degrees are Discovery degree, Green Hand degree, Chapter degree, State degree, and American degree. The state degree can also be known as the Bay State degree for Massachusetts members. Alright, the Program of Activities, also known as the POA, is designed to help chapters stay organized and plan events that they would like to do and get done throughout the year or even by month. Even the state officers have a POA, and it is a very useful strategy to keep organized, and there are 3 different categories to keep in mind when developing your chapter's POA. We have student development, chapter development, and community development. So now we're going to take a moment to come up with one POA idea you can share at your next chapter meeting. Take a moment and write it down on your piece of paper and keep that for your next meeting. Okay, so here we have the FFA official dress. As you see in the photo, we have our official blue corduroy jackets, along with a pencil skirt or black pants. Our official dress includes black enclosed shoes and dress shoes, along with black nylons and a FFA scarf or tie. In this picture, you will see some chains. These are known as degree chains, and each person will show them if they receive them, and it's a very honorable chain. Next, we have the agriculture industry. So I'm just going to go over 4 examples of industries in agriculture / horticulture and share some knowledge. Most likely you guys are in one of these types of programs that based on plants or large animals, anything to do with agriculture. So first we have large animal production / livestock. So here you see horses, chickens, and goats. Next we have forestry. So here you see large equipment, climbing trees, chainsaws, all that fun stuff. Then you have greenhouse / plants. So here you have the actual plants themselves, greenhouse management, learning the species of plants, all that stuff. And then you have floral design. So floral design is knowing your flowers, your colors, color combinations, and creating actual floral designs that are used for events, weddings, photography, all that. All right, so SAE. SAE stands for Supervised Agriculture Experience, an opportunity for students to explore agriculture industries outside of the classroom. So an example of this would be, for myself personally, I wanted to obtain a degree. And for certain degrees, you need an SAE. So I decided to look into different types of jobs in the agriculture industry, and one that caught my eye was actually floral design. So for this, I went to a florist and I worked with her and I got to know all my flowers and what colors look good versus what colors don't look good. And I just worked and I had an outside experience with floral design outside of my classroom. And it was such a great opportunity to learn more skills and to learn about the industry itself. So there are 6 different types of SAEs, and they can all be found in pages 10 through 11 in your manual. So I recommend to go and read them all because there are so many cool and different opportunities to get involved in certain industries and expand your knowledge. Okay, so our reflection. Why is agriculture important? Why do we need agriculture to sustain the way we live life? And why is it such an important concept for people to understand? Also, why is it important to develop personal growth and leadership skills? Why do we need all these skills to public speak and develop our own thoughts and opinions? Okay, so this wraps up part 1 of our What is FFA workshop. I'm so excited that we are starting to get to know you all and have these opportunities to share sources and information with you all. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. And even though we can't physically stay and be together, it's important that we are still connected and stay together as an organization. I hope you all have a good day or night till whenever you are watching this, and stay tuned for part 2.
Hi everybody, welcome to the second part of our What is FFA workshop. I'm Carolyn Auer, the 2020-2021 State Sentinel. And before we get started, I'm going to give a little information on myself, a little introduction, so I'm not just the stranger on your screen. I just graduated from Bristol Aggie this past year. I was on their officer team, and I graduated as an animal science major. Personally, I got my start in agriculture through horses and riding. So in 2018, when I heard about the horse evaluation CDE, which we're going to talk a little bit about in the future in this presentation, I just fell in love with FFA. So that's enough about me, and we'll jump into the workshop. One of the biggest ideas and one of the biggest thing in FFA is leadership development. And throughout this whole presentation, you'll kind of see this theme of all of these things connect back to becoming a leader. And FFA likes to develop these skills because not only in agriculture, but in every aspect, we're going to need future leaders. So the vision of FFA is to provide the next generation of leaders who will change the world. Got a little cut off there. And then the motto is, FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education. And even if you may not be that interested in agriculture or all of the things in it, FFA will still give you all of the opportunities you need to become a great leader. So right here, we're going to do a little activity. As you can see on the screen, it asks the question, why should I develop leadership skills? And I want you to take a minute, pause the video, and really think about it and write down why you think you should develop these skills. All right, hopefully you're watching this after you've paused the video and written something down, really taken some time to think about this question. And maybe your answer is something along the lines of, it'll help me in my career, it'll help me be a good leader, it'll help me work in a team. And these are all true, this is what we're aiming for, but it'll also help you in aspects of like everyday life, everyday work, just those small skills that all add up to something bigger. So our next section here says, how can I develop leadership skills through FFA? And you may be wondering about this. We haven't talked about it too much, but we're going to talk about it in this whole second half, this second part of this workshop. There's really 3 main ways that FFA can teach leadership skills and help you develop those skills. And those are officer teams, workshops, and CDE LDEs. And we'll also cover some other things that involve all of those things. And of course, these are not the only opportunities that FFA can provide. There's so many other things that I can't cover in a short presentation. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, email me, text me on social media, anything like that. I'm always willing to answer questions about FFA. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is workshops in the FFA. And fun little fact, if you didn't know, you're taking part in an FFA workshop right now, although it's a different format than what we would usually do, a much different format. Usually it's in person, we're interacting with one another, we're talking, we're having conversations. And due to the situation we're in right now, it's a little difficult to do that, but we're hoping to have interactions with you guys sometimes. I'm so excited to meet everybody. And workshops provide many different opportunities to develop skills and traits of a great leader. So they're kind of like mini classes, and you do a bunch of different activities that'll teach you that skill and that'll have you practice that skill. And by the end, you're usually proficient. And these workshops can usually either be kind of like a standalone event, or they can be part of a convention, which we'll talk about pretty soon. It's in a couple slides here. For one example, winter leadership camp is something that we used to do. We're unsure of the state of it this year, but it's kind of like a really big workshop. It's comprised of a bunch of little ones that teach you a ton of different skills about leadership, all compiled into 2 days-ish. And workshops are kind of like the classroom part of learning something. A lot of the times you'll have a classroom and then you'll have something like hands-on. And I'll show you these different types of hands-on things later. But through FFA, you'll have so many different opportunities to practice the skills that you gain from these workshops. Some examples of the skills you might learn are public speaking or working with a team, things like that are small and it's really focused in, but once you put them all together, it makes a great leader. So at the state level, we're hoping to offer more online workshops throughout the year. And if we try to make these accessible to everyone, to every member. So if you have any ideas on how we can get these out to more members or anything you'd like to see in these workshops, please let us know. So up next, we're going to talk about officer teams. And officer teams are a great way to put those leadership skills that you learn through workshops or any other aspects of your life into use. And officer teams, each officer has their own kind of role. There's presidents, vice presidents, secretaries, treasurers, reporters, sentinels, parliamentarians, historians, and I'll talk about those in a minute. And all of these officers work together to determine the events of their school's chapters. So things like fundraisers, events like banquets, and community service projects. And right here, I have a little bit more in-depth on the different roles of every chapter officer and what the officer team does as a whole. This is from page 50 in the FFA manual, which I have a link to at the end if you ever happen to need it. So from National FFA, this is the definition they give chapter officers. Chapter officers serve a vital function in FFA. By taking a major leadership role, these students grow from the experience and benefit the chapter. It should be the officer's goals to lead by example and encourage other members to participate in chapter activities. The following are general duties expected of all officers. So every officer should have a genuine desire to be part of a leadership team, a willingness to accept responsibility, a sincere desire to work with all chapter members in meeting their leadership, personal, and chapter goals, a commitment to lead by example, knowledge, understanding of the chapter, state, and national FFA constitutions, bylaws, and programs, a working knowledge of parliamentary procedure, and the ability to memorize official ceremonies. So those are the duties of all of the officers, regardless of their role. And, I'm having trouble scrolling. So first up is the president. They preside over meetings according to accepted rules of parliamentary procedure. They appoint committees and serve on them as an ex officio, non-voting member, coordinate the activities of the chapter and evaluate the progress of each division of the POA, represent the chapter in public relations and official functions. So I'm not going to go through these just for the sake of time. I know everybody spends a lot of time on their computer these days, but I do have a link to this page in the FFA manual. I'll post it. And this is here in case you wanted to look over all of the roles of the officer team because they're very interesting. And you may find yourself being interested in becoming a chapter officer, in which you would like to talk to your advisor and ask them what your chapter's procedure is for electing officers. I know, especially in this crazy time. So talk to your advisor and they should have a plan. All right, and next up we have conventions, which is everybody's favorite thing in FFA. Everyone gets so excited to go to conventions, whether it's the state or national conventions. So conventions in FFA, there's two levels. There's state conventions and there's national convention, which is happening this week. And they're the gathering of members to conduct business, participate in competitions, and learn about agricultural opportunities. So, National Convention happens to be October 27th to 29th, which is this week, or the week that we're releasing this. And it's going to be online this year. It's going to be virtual. This is the first year they've ever done this. So it'll be really cool to see how they manage to do everything online. And you can still be involved with nationals, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. State convention is still to be determined on the details for that. So we're hoping for an in-person convention. We're honestly really not sure what's going to be up with that. It's usually held in March, mid-March, but it will be later this year just because of the fact that our last state convention was late this year. And keep an eye out for registration deadlines and competitions, and we'll keep everyone updated on that. National convention, it's this week. There's some events where you have to register, but there's some things that you can see without having to register, and you can stay involved with national convention through their social media, through their website. If you're new to FFA, I definitely recommend keeping up with the things that are going on at the national level. It will kind of give you a really big introduction to the national level FFA. It's so incredible to see some of the things that they do. So now that you've heard me talk a bunch about deadlines and all of these things about conventions, you might be like, what is a convention anyways in FFA? So it's a really, really big gathering, and there's a ton of workshops that you can participate in. There's usually a career and college expo that you can visit, especially at the national level. It's a great way to learn different colleges that might be interesting to you, different career paths that may be interesting to you. Competitions, CDEs and LDEs, which we'll talk about. Competing in a CDE or LDE is one of the greatest ways to build your skills for agriculture and leadership. Community service projects will usually have like a keynote speaker. Awards and degrees will be given out at these conventions, and there's so many more amazing opportunities that you can find. All right, and before we move on to the next thing here, I just want to show you a little bit of the National FFA Convention website. During the convention, you can come here for a bunch of different updates. It has all of the social medias here at the bottom if you wanted to check any of that. There's the schedule for everything that's going to happen. You can look through, look at all of the things. You can see all the different events that happen at FFA National Convention, and I'm not sure if you could participate in anything if you're not registered. However, you can look at all of the things and see, oh, that really interests me. Maybe next year I could go look at that, or maybe next year I could register for this. Like the Blue Room is really cool. Things like that. You can also get updates down here if you wanted to see, oh, this cool thing's happening right now. Another cool thing about National Convention is, my face is blocking it here, but all of the general sessions will be available without registration. So I recommend, if you want to get involved more in FFA, tune into one of the sessions. They're really interesting to watch. There's no way I can really describe it other than you should watch it. They're so cool. And you can see this is all of the registration stuff. You can ask your advisor if you are registered, because who knows, maybe you are, and you can participate in more things. All right, and with the conclusion of that, we're going to move on to competitions or career and leadership development events, also known as CDEs and LDEs. CDEs and LDEs are competitions that occur in FFA to develop those skills you might need in agricultural industries or forward leadership, putting those skills to use. And the competitions occur at a few different levels, at state, sometimes regional, and national levels. And they're a really fun, hands-on, rewarding way to use the skills and learn about industries. And we're gonna go visit this link right here. And on this page, I recommend you visit it. It has all of the different competitions that you could participate in. So I'll just pick one here. We'll do creed speaking. That's a popular one. So there's a ton of different CDE LDEs, and they're a really great way. So we're going to take a dive into one of these LDEs here. Creed speaking is a really popular one, especially in the underclassmen, freshmen, sophomores. You can come to any of these little links in the CDE LDE page, and you can look at the handbooks. You can read the overview, and it'll tell you everything you need to know, everything that you'll need to prepare for. You can look through all of these and see if there's any competitions that interest you. For example, if you're in a natural resources program, you might be interested in the natural resources competition. If you're in a dairy program, you might be interested in dairy judging. There's so many. Even if you're not necessarily interested in the industry side of things, you can still do leadership development events, which there's communications, there's so many things. There's something for everyone. So I recommend you take a look at this page. It's ffa.org/participate CDE LDE. Oh no. And just look through all of these. Even just read the titles of you, see if there's anything that interests you. So for an activity, you can visit that link that I was just on, pick out a few, maybe 2 or 3 that interest you, click on one and read the overview, and then there's a handbook at the bottom left. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to click on. There's a handbook at the bottom left, and you can read through. That'll tell you almost everything that you should know about the competition, how, what to prepare for, things like that. And if you're really interested in competing in one of these events, there's something that really interests you, let your advisor know. Ask about the state level competitions. They're still happening. And just to list some things that might be interesting, some of the CDEs and LDs I can think of are the FFA Creed Speaking, which is a great way to develop your public speaking, horse evaluation, dairy evaluation, floriculture, environmental natural resources, mechanics, all these different things that might interest you. State level competitions will still be held this year. They're going to be virtual, and some events usually take place on their own, and some are done at the state convention. However, this is pre-COVID when we could do things in person, but those competitions are still going to be happening whether they're virtual or not, so keep an eye out for those. And winners of our state level competitions have the opportunity to compete at nationals, so I recommend looking into competing, even if you're on the line, not sure about it, going to nationals or participating in nationals this year as a virtual convention is such an amazing opportunity. I 100% recommend it. National competitions are amazing. State level too. I 100% recommend trying to do those CDEs and LDEs, even if you're unsure. You won't regret the opportunity that you're given. And with that, that concludes our introduction to FFA. Of course, everything goes into much more depth than just the time we have to show you. There's so many interesting things about FFA. There's all these little things that I wish I had time to talk about to everyone, because I could go on for hours and hours about FFA. However, if you do have any questions about anything you've seen here, you can contact me or Michaela. I know that we're not in person. It's not a live Zoom, so it's kind of tough to answer on the spot questions. But please feel free to shoot us an email, even if it's just like, hey, do you know when this competition's happening or when I need to register for this? Ask us. We'll try to answer as best as we can in this crazy time. And I hope everyone enjoyed this workshop. I know we've all been on Zoom. It's like the Zoom apocalypse, but we hope you enjoyed watching. We hope you learned something out of this. We hope we've generated your interest in FFA. It can seem kind of like a lot at first. I know when I was a freshman, I was like, oh, FFA is that's big. That's a lot of things to take in. But hopefully this kind of shows you what path you might want to take through FFA. And I can't wait to meet y'all, whether it's on Zoom or in person.